My job is all about purpose.
Just the ability to make a difference, you know, to help someone be able to go home at the end of the day.
My great-grandfather started the volunteer fire department in Springfield, Nebraska. My grandmother was a nurse. My uncle was a fire chief in Atlanta, Georgia. So somewhere down the line, it was my purpose to be doing this.
Yeah, we're a family here.
The data we get from Rapid SOS is life-saving.
Have you ever met a 911 professional and asked, what's the worst call you've ever taken? Well, here's your answer. I heard your last breath the night you flipped your four-wheeler. I tried to call you the day you committed suicide by driving your car into a tree. Blue face, cold to the touch. I helped you with CPR after you found your infant face down, not breathing. It messed me up. I did everything I could, but it wasn't enough. You were with me from the beginning, Grandma. 27 years later, I took the 911 call when you died. How fitting to be there for me in the beginning, and I was there for you in the end. I miss you, Grandma. I am 911. This is but a glimpse into the world of emergency dispatch. But what is it really like to answer a call during someone's nightmare? What is the impact of the first responder answering the call? Available on Amazon or where you purchase your favorite books and ebooks. Imagine listening. Your worst day is our everyday.
This is Jordan, and you're listening to the Code 7 Podcast Network.
Warning. This episode contains the 3 A's of podcasting: adult content, adult language, and awesomeness. You've been warned.
The Blackhawks with the guard, they were sitting there with their engines idling, waiting for the ceiling to lift so they could go. So we had Virginia Highway Patrol, THP, and the Blackhawks all took off at the same time. But everybody was stuck on that roof waiting for air rescue for almost 2 hours. Watching houses go by, trees go by. It was very scary. And some of the things that were said on the radio was just horrifying.
I was going to say, I can't even imagine what you're hearing on the radio. People saying whatever they might be seeing, or, you know, something to the effect of maybe, you know, can anyone hear me or something, you know, at those moments, you're not, it's not just dispatch and those out in the field. It makes it that much more personal.
It was friendships. The police chief, this one gets me every time. He said on the radio, he said, "Alora, I know you're listening. Get me some effing help."
Oh, man.
Welcome to Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo with the Code 7 Podcast Network, and this is Within the Trenches, true stories from the 911 dispatchers who live them. This episode is sponsored by Rapid SOS, Safer Together, the leading AI company in public safety, and a big shout out to subscribers of the podcast. Thank you all very, very much. As I always say, and I will continue to say it, I started all of this, but all of it would not be what it is without all of you and your support. So thank you for your continued support, watching, supporting, listening, sharing, just all of it. Thank you so much. And yes, I said support 3 times there. But I thank you for it. I appreciate it. Because yeah, I wouldn't be where I'm at without all of you. So thank you. It is February 12th on a Thursday. It's going to be Friday 13th tomorrow. Oh, snaps. We'll see how everything is going on, popping off in dispatch. Sometimes I really miss it. Other times I'm glad I'm not there for days like Friday 13th or full moons or the 4th of July. I joke. I do miss it. I really do miss it. But man, there's some crazy stuff that happens in our profession. There's a lot of different things coming up. I've got conferences, places I'll be doing keynotes, speaking at, doing breakout sessions, also doing the podcast. So look out for announcements that are going to be coming up and all. And I appreciate all of you. So thank you for everything that you do. I'm excited for my guest today. Her name is Alora, and she is the director at Unacoi 911 out of Tennessee. I think I said that right.
You did.
All right. Yeah. Yay. Well, welcome. And did I pronounce your name right?
You did, actually.
Okay, good. That was one thing I was going to ask you before I started recording. And okay, good. I'm glad I got it right. Well, again, I am super happy to have you on and chat with you. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. Your story, Hurricane Helene, Stella, who we heard just now, your ESA. And so that is going to be a lot of fun. So again, I'm happy to have you here. So let's jump right in and let's go back in time, because you have about 10 years experience in 911 and public safety. But how did you get started to begin with? Do you come from a family of public safety, or did someone just say, hey, you would be great at this? Or did you just, I don't know, basically stumbled into it?
So I was working as a CNA, and my boyfriend at the time was a deputy, and I was looking for something else, and he said, hey, why don't you try this? And I said, no, that sounds dumb. And he said, no, please, come on, try it. I think you would be good at it. And I said, I don't want to sit behind a desk all day. I want to do something else. He finally convinced me to give it a shot, and I absolutely fell head over heels within about, 2 days. So
What? Dang. Okay. So when you finally decided, all right, fine, I'll go try it out, did you have a chance to do like a sit along or anything, or did you just go straight into the hiring process?
I went straight into the hiring process. I had decided to do it after I did a ride along with him, and I was listening to the dispatchers, and he was talking about how like they're dealing with so much going on at one time. And he said, I know you want to be physically active. He said, but you'd be amazed at the mental activity that they're doing. And I said, it can't be that much. He said, just listen for the day. And I did. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I'll go apply. It took 6 months to get hired, though.
Oh, dude. It's just a long hiring process in general, or how
Well,
did that
the
work?
first director I applied under didn't want to hire me. And so then she retired, and a new one came in and decided to give me a shot when he had only been here a couple of months. So.
Oh, man. Okay. So you end up going to that process and you end up finding out you got the job. How are you feeling in that moment?
I was panicking.
Oh,
Because at first they had hired me on as part-time to train. And the girl that they had hired full-time over me quit suddenly after hearing a really bad call. And so before I ever even did my first training shift, they called and said, hey, you're actually full-time now. Oh, okay.
oh man. So how's the panicking going now at that point?
I looked at my boyfriend. I said, I don't know if I can do this. I said, if somebody quit that fast, I don't know that I can do this. And he said, I think you can do it. Just try. And here we are.
I know, right? Here we are 10 years later. Holy moly. Okay, so you end up coming in, you're part-time training and everything. And that part-time, what was it? Was it like 4 hours, 8 hours? How did that work for your training as a part-timer before this whole thing happened?
Whenever they wanted to train me.
Oh, snap. Okay, so it wasn't. All right. Well, the reason I asked too is because the last center that I was at, where I ended up closing out my dispatch career, part of public safety, I was part-time training as well. And but they had just kind of like a set schedule where I was coming in. It was mostly over the weekends because it was there was a lot more going on, so it'd be easier for me to learn a lot of things. But as soon as I was done training, they were like, hey, you're actually going to be full-time after all. And I was like, hell yes. But for you, you're part-time, it's whenever. So, I mean, you're working somewhere else at the time, right? I mean, how does that
Yeah.
even work?
Yeah, I was still a CNA, and so I knew hopefully I would become full time. So I kind of took a gamble. If they
Mhm.
called and said they were ready to train that day, which they ended up calling just saying you're going to be full time, I was just going to take a sick day and come in. So
Oh man. So then, okay, hold on a minute, really quick here, because of what you just said there. Were you waiting to hear about your first part-time training shift and they said you're
yes.
going to be full-time? Oh, no way. Okay, I wanted to make sure I heard you right, because at first I was thinking, okay, so you were doing, part-time shifts here, training and stuff, and then one of them they ended up saying, "Hey, you're going to be full-time." No, that's not
Mhm.
the case. You were waiting to be called in for that training, and instead of them calling you for the part-time training, they're letting you know that you're full-time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my lord.
The girl that they hired full time over me, she had only been here a couple of days and listened to that call and said, "No, not for me," and left.
Well, that okay, so two things. That's good and bad, right? Like that sucks that they end up losing that person, but also it's good in, I guess, multiple ways, because one, you ended up getting the full time, right? But also the center is not going through the entire process and then
Mhm.
getting to a point where they then start listening to calls and they're like, no, this is not for me. And what I mean is like going through just like geography and learning policies and procedures and stuff first. I like the way a lot of places are doing it now, where they're playing calls for people right off the bat, or they have them come in for sit-alongs so that
Mhm.
they can hear it, so they can be exposed to it. Because then, if you don't, like for myself and my old center, we had a person go through the training up until the point where they're now getting on the floor, still in training, but they've gone through all of the geography codes, all of that stuff, and then they hear that first call, and yeah, they're like, nope, this isn't for me. So then you've in a way wasted all of that, where if maybe you had done it in the first place, like with this person there at your center, it's only 2 days, and that person was aware enough that they knew that it wasn't for them. So in a way, it's good. It's good that that ended up happening, but especially because look where you're at now.
Yeah.
So as we're on this topic, you walk in to dispatch, and what are you seeing? So for those who are watching and listening, just so that you can paint a picture for them, when you're walking in, are there multiple people on the floor at the same time that are working? Are there just like a bunch of different consoles? What is it that you're seeing, and how are you feeling in that moment?
So I work at a very small center, but for somebody brand new, I walked in and there's 3 consoles with only 2 people and 4 monitors on each console and hovering around you. It kind of felt like a spaceship when I walked in.
Yeah.
And there's people talking and phones ringing and radios going off. And I turned around and looked at the director and I said, "What is happening?" And he said, "Oh, it's just Tuesday." And I
What
said, "Oh, fantastic. Okay."
what a way to put it. It's just Tuesday. It's just another day in dispatch.
Yeah,
But it sounds like maybe even some feelings of being kind of overwhelmed a little bit.
very much so. And especially, he turned around and he said, "Hey, here's your trainer. Bye." And so she actually had to tell me her name. He didn't tell me her name.
Oh,
And I said, "Okay, what do I do now? Just stand here, look at you, or do you want me to sit down? What do you want me to do?" And she said, "I don't know, grab a chair, I guess."
so this is an interesting way to start, especially because you don't know what's going on, right? You don't know what's going on. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're kind of looking to someone to, a buddy of some sort, buddy system. Hey, help me
Yeah.
out. What are we supposed to be doing? And of course, you know, uh, 10 years ago, even more before that, a lot of the guard at the time at a lot of centers was kind of like that. It was
Hmm.
sit down, shut up, listen, don't speak.
Yeah.
And which sucks, right? There's that tough love, but that tough love doesn't always work. Like, people need some direction. So you end up getting that chair and you sit down, and I'm assuming they hook you up with one of these, the umbilical
Hmm.
cord, as we so lovingly call it, and you're already listening to calls.
Yeah.
I mean, is that pretty much how it went down?
Yes. 100% how it went down. She handed me some papers and said, read these over while we listen to calls. And that was my first day.
So was that an 8-hour shift or a 12-hour shift?
It was eight
Okay.
hours.
So 8-hour shift. That's what you're doing that whole first day. You go back home. I don't even know if you remember this or not, but going back home, like, do you remember your drive? Like, were you not saying much during your drive? Was it just music? Did you call your boyfriend, or did you get home and then talk to your boyfriend and be like, what am I getting myself into?
I don't remember the drive home, but I
Mhm.
do remember calling him at some point and saying, what have you asked me to do? He said, I really think you'll be good at it. I know it's crazy. Give it some time.
Man.
And I
Yeah.
said, you're lucky I like you.
What a way to start. What a welcome to dispatch. So, you go through that. How long did the training process last?
2 weeks.
What?
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks, and you were
Mhm.
already out on the floor taking calls.
Yes.
So let's think about that moment where you've gone through those 2 weeks. Now, I laugh, but and you I'm sure you know this already, but like, my first day ever in dispatch back in 2001, one, I find out that I get the job. Two, I find out that I'm working that same night for midnight shift. And three, I'm in dispatch for about 25 minutes before I take my first call. So I feel you there in not having a lot of training. So you go through those 2 weeks and you go to start taking calls. I mean, do you ever have a moment where you're thinking, this can't be it? There's got to be more training than this.
Yeah, I've thought that a few times, but then one of my partners that I worked
Mhm.
with explained her training about, I don't know, 8 years prior to that. And she said that her training was all you need to know is 10-4-10-4 and copy Good Buddy. And then he went across the street to the movie theater.
What? Okay, so that's that's worse than mine. I at least was shown everything in 25 minutes and then thrown to the wolves. Holy crap. Yeah. I mean, so the person that was training me, who I would say who's very seasoned,
Mhm.
slightly crusty, I would say, very cool guy, but he was the same way. He's like, these are the only things that you need to be able to do this job, and that's common sense, thick skin, and to be human.
Mhm.
And it's pretty much what you're doing. And talk to people the way you would want to be talked to, and you learn as you're working. So you start taking these calls, and I mean, do you even remember? Do you remember your first call, or even some of those earlier calls that you were taking?
Not really.
Mhm.
In preparation for this, I actually went back into our CAD system here and looked, and the first call that I ever put in was a school traffic call. And I don't remember anything about it.
Is it weird to go back? It's funny that you say that, because when I first started, well, not when I first started, but once I got kind of dialed in and I had the chance to do so, I went into, because I worked for the county that I grew up in. So I went back in to look up just some like calls that I know that had happened at my home. I mean, we were home once. My dad is in Texas, and we were at home when someone tried to break into our house in the middle of the night. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night and hearing my mom speak to one of the officers. And I ended up looking that up and reading the stuff on there. And I thought, wow, this is what was going on. So for you to go back and read that first call and read that, I have to ask, like, what was that moment like for you? Because, like you said, you don't remember it, but you're reading stuff and you're like, I'm the one who did this. And this is
Oh,
interesting.
I looked at it and I said, those are the notes that I put in that call.
You're all critiquing yourself. Oh, that's hilarious. But that's us. We're our own worst critic.
hmm Yeah, I had one of my dispatchers sitting behind me and I said, please don't put notes like that in your calls. Make them better than that.
Learn from me. So so you were training for 2 weeks.
hmm
And so just so that I can for myself and everyone who's watching and listening can get a better understanding, do you dispatch and take calls? Like, do you do all 3 disciplines of public safety, police, fire, EMS, or is it just police? How does it work there?
So we do police, fire, EMS,
Hmm.
and then also all the NCIC work for the entire county. So all of it.
Nice. Okay, so you learned all of that in
Yeah.
2 weeks. How
No, absolutely not.
well, I mean, to a point, right? To a point, enough for they're like, go, be free.
Fly.
Yeah,
Fly on your own.
yeah, fly on your own, and we'll be here to back you up if you need it. So you're working with 2 other people, right? There's 3 people on usually.
There was usually 2.
Oh, 2. Okay, so 2 is
Yeah.
the minimum.
Yeah.
So that is, excuse me, it's kind of close to the center that I was working at, the central dispatch, because our minimum was 3 throughout the week, and then on the weekend it was 4. And that 4th person they would stagger the shift, so it would be the 1P to 1A shift, so that we had
Mhm.
someone for those peak times. And then, after 1 a.m. things kind of drop off. But there's some days where it doesn't drop off, and it just makes it that much more crazy. So you end up having that training. You're going through. About how long after do you feel like you were dialed in, right? Because you get trained, maybe you go to some other trainings or whatever, you know what you're doing, but it takes, from a lot of people that I've spoken to, it's between like 2 to maybe 3 years is
Mm.
kind of that sweet spot where you feel like you're dialed in to what is going on. I mean, you're always learning, right? But it's kind of like that moment.
For me, being younger and arrogant, I felt like I was dialed in about a year in,
Oh, snap, look at you.
Um, it took moving to a different county to
Mhm,
realize I was not dialed in. And once I got there, probably year 3 for me,
mhm.
I felt more confident, more comfortable.
Now, what was it that and if you can remember and you feel, like you can say, what do you think it was that made you feel like I'm not as dialed in as I thought I was?
Probably starting training at the other agency.
Mhm.
When I sat down, I've been a dispatcher for 2 years. I know what I'm doing. Why do I need to sit through this long training? Um, and then started taking calls, and my trainer was like, "Yeah, that's not how we do that. What do you mean you've never used this software? What do you mean you don't know what this is?" And it was, "Oh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing."
So did you feel like you were starting from scratch again a little bit, or
Yeah, kinda.
so that yeah, that definitely for someone who's a bit younger and is like, bring it on, like I've got
Mhm.
this. That's kind of a gut punch, right? When you get there and you're like, "Oh my god. Okay. All right, maybe we're not where we thought we were." But it sounds like though you were also receptive to what was going on, and you were, continued your training until you felt like you were dialed in.
Mhm. Yeah. That agency showed me a lot, taught me a lot, definitely got me to where I am now. It took a little bit of convincing at first, probably a few weeks, and then here we are.
Now, do you remember, because you mentioned how in the first agency, like you were like, let's do this, like you were ready, you were all about it. And but beyond that, and maybe it was more so for the second agency where you were at, maybe that was more the moment where it solidified that you were in the right profession for you. Because a lot of people that I've spoken to, sometimes people can pinpoint a moment, whether it be something that would happen that happened within the center or with a phone call or something like that, that really they were able to step back and reflect and think, you know what, I'm in the right spot. Do you feel like there was a moment for you that way as well?
I definitely think it was at the second center.
Hmm.
After a couple of months of training there, they said, "Hey, you're ready to go on a shift." And I said, "No, I don't think so." And they said, "No, you are. You're ready." And so I went out to the shift, and everybody just kind of left me alone. And they said, "No, you're good. You're good." And I took a call, and nobody listened in on my call. Nobody questioned my decisions on that call. And at that moment, I was like, "Hey, wait a minute. This is actually kind of fun. I like this." And that's when it kind of hit. This is where I'm supposed to be, you know?
That is awesome. I love it because yeah, there are moments, especially like that, because I remember when I was getting ready to get let go on my own, and it was kind of the same way. My trainer says, "So what do you think? Do you think you're ready?" And I said, "Hell no." I said, "No, and this is also from coming from almost 4 years in a in the first center that I was at in Florida before I moved back to Michigan. And but it was because it was a different dynamic. Like there, it was just me for 8 hours for a whole shift,
Ooh.
no one else. And the next one where I ended up retiring from, there's now a team. So I'm still learning to work with this team, because when you get to the shadow phase of like our training process, the way it was back then, the trainer's there, but like off. If you need them, they come in, but you're supposed to be working as a team. And I was only on that phase for like a week or two. And so when they're like, "You're ready to go. Are you ready to go?" I was like, "No, hell no." And they kind of told me the same thing. They said, "No, we think you are." And it was that push
Hmm.
that really helped do it. And I can feel your vibe where you say like, I can do this.
Yeah.
You needed that recognition that they're gonna let you go and do it, and if you need help, then you ask.
Hmm.
And I can feel it right now. I got goosebumps. This is weird. But it's just that feeling of satisfaction that you're like, "Damn it, I can do this. I
Yeah.
can. This is where I'm supposed to be." So I feel you. That's an awesome moment.
It's kind of like right after that, I asked, "Hey, would I ever be able to be a trainer?" They said, "Yeah, we'll send you to CTO school." And I went, "Are you shitting me? Really?" Okay.
Yeah, so right there, even more so, that is really cool that
Hmm.
they were also receptive to the fact that, hey, you want to do this, then we're going to give you every opportunity.
Hmm.
They also needed more trainers too,
It did.
but yeah,
100%.
but but to have someone come in who is not only um not so much new, but newer to the center, and really going through and doing all this stuff, but having that confidence, like, hell yeah, like you want someone who has that confidence, but also is willing to learn even more so, and then also help those new folks that are coming in. So I have to ask, because I ask all the time when people mention that they were trainers as well. It's one of two things of reasons that they wanted to become a trainer. One is because they had crappy training and they wanted to become a trainer to kind of undo some of the not so much, I guess, bad training, but kind of crappy training, whichever. um so that the new folks that are coming in, that literal next generation of 911, they can mold them in a better way than they were, or
Mhm.
they had great training and that inspired them to be able to do it as well. So what was your reason? I mean, you like right off the bat were like, could I be a trainer? So there something that happened or things that you saw, or maybe it was just what you experienced that really wanted to push you to do the same thing.
I think it was both of those.
Hmm.
Because at the first center, there was little training. There
Yeah.
was awful training. And ideas were shot down pretty heavy by management. We pitched ideas for a better training program and they got thrown in the trash. And then the new center, the training was great. My trainer knew so much, was so helpful, just genuine. And so I saw both ends. And I wanted to help be on the second side instead of having the first side for everybody.
I love that. And that is probably one of the best things too, to have both of those, because when you're training, you will have those stories to be able to share as well. When
Mhm.
someone is saying, "Oh, this is so much training, this is so much this or that or whatever," and you can say, "Well, actually, let me tell you," and then you tell them, and that person will probably sit there and think, "Okay, I actually have it pretty good."
Yeah.
Because it's like, would you rather get thrown to the lions right away? And a lot of people will say no, like, no, this is scary as it is to begin with. And I don't say that for anyone to watch and listen to this and think, oh, this is scary. It is scary. That's the
Mhm.
reality. But I would rather know what it's like right off the bat than find out later and then decide, no, this is not for me. But what if you are on an actual 911 call and you freeze up or something like that? That's not going to help anyone. So I would rather people know right off the bat.
Mhm. Yeah. And I start out with every new hire that I bring in and explain, this job is very scary, but our goal is to give you every tool possible to make it as easy as possible. I want you to fall back on that training that we're going to give you on any scenario and not feel scared or freeze. And so that's the program we built now here. And I love the program we have now. So,
See, and I love that as well, because you're using all of that experience that you bring to the table, and you're making that training program that much better because of that experience that you had. I always say to people, like, if you could go back, what would you change or whatever? But sometimes you don't want to change anything because
mhm,
you've gone through all of that. Let's say you did go back and you changed something. You probably wouldn't have some of those thoughts that you have right now because you didn't go through it. But
exactly.
because you did, that's going to make that training program that much better. And then whoever else is part of that training program, I mean, they bring their own story to it as well.
Hmm. Yeah, we've
Uh,
we developed a great team. So,
See, and I love to hear that too, because there's a lot of places. I mean, one of the big things that we talk about in 911 is also the culture that is
mhm,
within the different dispatch centers, and how having a good culture, or building a good culture even, will help people stay. Because a lot of times, a lot of people that I've spoken to, people leave not because they don't like the profession or the job, the things that they're doing. It's because of maybe a toxic culture, a toxic environment or whatever.
mhm,
And some of them would rather take a pay cut to work somewhere where they feel like they're heard and seen and things are good. Not all rainbows and everything, right? Not all unicorns and everything, but to a point where there's a solid foundation.
mhm.
People would rather be there.
Yeah, I
So,
think here my people they just want to be heard.
mhm.
That's the big thing. And making time to go out there and talk to them every day seems to make a huge difference. Um, I think we have probably the best morale in our area right now, which I mean, Stella helps, but
Yes. And I love that you've got that type of culture there. I mean, I know a lot of centers that are building a great place to be at, to have a career at. one of the places in Michigan, they have a waiting list for people to get hired there because they have that much of a good culture and rapport around the state and stuff that people want to go there. I'm like, damn, like that is really cool. That is
Yeah.
cool to hear. And we'll talk about Stella here more in a moment, but for all of this time, that you've been in dispatch and everything, and the time that you've been on the floor, and also, if just as long as you feel comfortable sharing, what about a call that just kind of sticks with you? And I know that there are many calls, and like for myself, there are many calls as well that have stuck with me, but sometimes there are maybe one or two that stick out that much more because of maybe something that I heard, continue to hear, or things that I remember. What about yourself?
One that that stuck with me forever, and I talked to a lot of the new hires about it too.
Hmm.
Um, I was pretty early in my second agency. It was winter, and a woman called. She said that her oldest son had come up to the house. They had been walking around in the field below their house. There's a pond down there, and they were walking on the ice, and the youngest son fell through and had slipped under the ice. When she called, she was at her house and was going down the hill to get to the pond. When she made it to the pond, I lost her. She was completely level 5 hysterics, screaming, blood curdling scream in the background. We were trying to get anybody up there. One of my rookie officers got there first and jumped into the pond full duty belt. And so we were panicking that not only were we going to lose a 2-year-old, but we were also going to lose an officer to this icy pond. I could not get her back. I tried every technique under the sun, couldn't get her back. Ended up just muting myself and crying along with her. After the call was done, my deputy director at the time came up and patted me on the back and he said, "Go outside." I said, "I don't want to go outside. I need to know what happens next." And he said, "No, go outside. I've got it." And I said, "You can't take a call. You don't know what you're doing." He said, "Please just go outside." So I finally got up and went out. And for probably 15, 20 minutes, I beat myself up. I couldn't get her back on the phone. When I came back in and I told my trainer at the time about it, my former trainer, I was out of training at that point, told her about it. She immediately took me into the office and played me a video on the levels of hysteric callers and explained she was a level 5 and there was nothing I could do to get her back. I think not only the blood curdling screams, but the support that I had after made it stick pretty hard, you know?
Was there a debriefing or anything on that call,
No.
or did you ever get any closure or anything on that?
Just so happens I was friends with one of the medics. And so we got periodic updates at the hospital. The child did live for about 4 hours after. But he was he had been under for about 30 minutes. It was just the cold temperatures, so.
Oh, well, right off the bat, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm happy that you had even some form of support, people
Mhm.
telling you to walk away. And as soon as you were saying that part about you being like, "No, I'm not going to go," I can see and feel exactly how you feel, because I remember calls, nothing specific that comes to mind at the moment, but I remember calls where people had said, "I let me relieve you for a moment." I was just like, "No, like
I don't
this
want
is
to.
not your call." Yeah, like I need to finish this call. And with those, I did end up finishing it only because it was already going to be done. But any longer than that, I probably should have walked away as well. But I'm glad that you had that support with people there, because you could have easily been in a spot where there wasn't anyone who came to check up on you.
Mhm.
And so I'm glad that you were able to step away, but also that you were not afraid to mute your microphone and just let your emotions flow.
Sometimes you have to.
Mhm.
And you know, that's something I'm pretty passionate about, is that stigma around crying on the phone. You know, while we don't want our callers to hear it,
Right.
we are human. So mute yourself, sniffle a little bit, get yourself together and talk again, you know.
Mhm.
Um, support each other and step away. I've heard too many horror stories of dispatchers who don't have that support. Why? Why don't we support our people? Why don't we support each other? It's not that hard.
Right. And it's the only way that I feel like we're going to make it through this. It's the only way that, and what I mean by that is not just having a long career, right, in 911, excuse me, but also having people stay at,
Yeah.
the center or whatever. And that doesn't mean hold them back or anything. Like, if people are ready to go, let them go.
Mhm.
If they have that awareness that they are done, let them, because sometimes people don't pay attention to that awareness, or that thought process rather, or just even the thought of leaving, and they stay and they feel stuck, or they end up hurting themselves in the sense of just their mental health and wellness, where they feel like they have to stay and just continue, going through that, and not being able to reach out to anyone or say anything. So I'm glad that there were people there to be able to talk to you and get through that or anything. But also, just another story that you also have for those new folks, like you
Mhm.
were saying, to talk to people. Um, I'm I've been sharing stories for years, and I always tell people, when you're ready to share your story and to talk about some of the things you've gone through, if anything, think about the fact that your story could be someone else's inspiration when they feel like they're dying on the inside,
Mhm.
or they feel as though someone is not there or to listen. There are a ton of us out there who are going through similar things.
Yes.
Um, so you've gone through all of this. You've had a lot, tough calls, and you were a trainer and everything. Well, you're the director now.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like, just listening to you, that you've got this like sass spunk, like bring it on, type attitude, that it wasn't just, hey, how can I be a trainer, right off the bat. Now, after doing all of this, it's like, how can I step into this role as a
Mhm.
director to take care of my people and those out in the field and my community? What was your process of moving up higher?
Honestly, so the position at this agency, which was my starter agency,
Hmm.
um, came open all of a sudden. And I told my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time that I got into this, I told him, I said, I've always wanted to be a director, and I always wanted to be a director there, but they're not going to hire me. They only hire old men. Like, that's it. And so he said, just try it and see what the process is like. And I said, okay. And so I did the first interview. They called me and asked me for the second one. And I went, oh no, I don't think I can do this. And I called my former trainer at the second agency. And she said, I think you got it. You can do it. And I said, okay. So I did the second interview, and then they called. And when he called me and said, I would like to offer you the director's job, I cried. And I said, are you kidding? Is this a joke? I'm 30 years old and I'm a female. There's no other female leaders in this county. And he said, no, I'm serious. I went to the first board meeting and everybody voted unanimously to hire me. And it took probably a year for me to really settle in and be like, I am actually the director. I hit a long-term goal probably 20 years before I planned. So,
That's amazing. I mean,
yeah.
you're making history there in that county.
Since I got in, they've got the EMS director is now a female, and the animal shelter director is now a female. So we've started kind of a movement around here.
I mean, that is something to be definitely proud of. I hope that you are proud of that. Like that is awesome, man. What I have to ask though is your boyfriend who is now husband, it sounds like both times he was like, just try it. Has there ever been a moment where he's like, because I told you to try it?
Yeah, quite often actually.
That's pretty funny. I was gonna say that's like normal dude shit right there. Like, I told you.
He's extremely
I
supportive.
knew it. That's cool. I love that.
Supportive. But he loves to throw that support in my face. Like, look at what I talked you into doing.
That's funny. Well, us as dudes, like, we're never right, so we have to take it when we get it. Oh man, but it's awesome that you know, to have that support as well and to push you even further. And you know, you've got this whole perspective that is just refreshing. So that is awesome. So I want to kind of shift here now, which, you know, I now that we've had, you know, this moment to hear your story and everything else, there was something that happened, and this was what, a couple of years ago. Um, because I don't think that last year during hurricane season there really wasn't any hurricanes or anything that were going on. I think there were maybe some tropical storms, but nothing compared to what happened the year prior, which was Hurricane Helene.
Yes.
And as long as you feel comfortable talking about this stuff as well, um, how was your area affected by Hurricane Helene? I know there's a lot of different spots. I mean, you mentioned that you're kind of you're right on the border there of North Carolina, and they got hit pretty hard. So for yourself being in that spot as well, how did things play out? Because the reason I'm asking this as well, for those who are watching and listening, this kind of leads to the topic of Stella. So if you can kind of take us through, like, what was going on just from the beginning, preparation, seeing things that are going or potentially coming towards your center and all, you know, what is going through your mind through all this?
Well, so where we're at is very mountainous, and leading up to it, our newscaster said we would get a couple inches of rain. Nobody expected what we got. And actually, my county was the hardest hit in East Tennessee. If you Google Unacoi County 911 Hurricane Helene, you'll see our hospital. We had to airlift 62 people off the roof of the hospital. Including our EMA director, our police chief, our EMS director, several other agency leaders. We lost 6 people to Hurricane Helene. There was no prep work really because we weren't expecting it. And then it hit, and we did everything we could. After the flood started, we weren't sure that we were going to have our leaders anymore. We didn't know if they were going to make it off the roof of that hospital because nobody could fly. But when we finally got them off of the hospital and everything started to kind of settle down, then we were scrambling, trying to figure out where we were going to set up a ICS system, because our EMA director had a 10 by 10 office. We didn't have an EOC. And so as far as dispatch goes, if I'm honest, it's a blur. I came in at 9:00 and sat down, and the phones never stopped. I put in 23 hours that first day, sitting with dispatch and trying to help them. And my guys are amazing. I put out an all hands and had 9 dispatchers like that. I didn't even have enough consoles for them. So we were sitting them with pads of paper and radios yelling across the room. But a lot of it is a blur, especially that first week. I put in 120 hours that first week. So
Jeez. As you're talking, I'm on my other monitor over here. I looked up exactly what you said, and looking at these pictures, it looks like something out of a movie.
yeah.
It's devastating, everything that I'm looking here.
First couple of hours, we kept getting all these calls, and they're like, hey, the river's rising, and we've got the radio traffic coming in saying, hey, we can't get back out of the hospital. The front's covered. And what are you talking about? The river is a quarter of a mile away from the hospital. What do you mean? And then we had the TV on, and somebody flipped it over to the news real fast. And there it was on the news. And we looked up and went, oh, that's a mile away from us right now. A mile down the road was the hospital. And so then I'm looking outside like, oh, is it going to get us? Do we need to evacuate? But it didn't make it all the way up to the center, thank goodness. But it was absolute chaos that first day.
Jeez. So, okay, so you mentioned everyone, all hands, and a bunch of people showed up, and so do you all end up basically locked in to the center for a few days, or people coming and going, or how is that even working? And the reason I ask too is because in other places, in other states, and other areas that were hit as well, they're like sleeping there at dispatch. They're pretty much locked in. And I think one of the directors out of North Carolina that I spoke to, her husband was a firefighter. She hadn't heard from him, but part of what was going on with them, he ends up, I guess, getting into one of the fire trucks with someone, and they're in the parking lot of a church as everything is going, and they're just like waiting it out until they're finally able to get somewhere.
So we only had damage on one half of the county, really. The other half of the county was pretty clear. So my deputy director, her entire road washed away. So she ended up being here for like 3 days. I was here, but one of my first priorities was making sure that my guys did not work more than 12 hours at a time, because that's just not fair to them. Right. In fact, none of my guys got more than their normal amount of overtime throughout the whole storm. I still don't really know how we did that, but we did it somehow. But I worked most of it. She worked a lot of it. We did get some help from tactical dispatch, which was the first time, I tell you, being a new director. I'd only been the director 9 months at that point.
Jeez.
And the state tactical dispatch rep reached out, and he said, do you know how to call for us if you need us? And I said, no. He said, cool, I'm sending you an email. If you need us, just respond to it. Okay. And I did a little bit later, and they sent me people. The fact that they were so willing to take care of us was just amazing.
Oh man. Okay, I've got like so many questions. So you mentioned the people who ended up getting, rescued and everything off the roof, right? So who even came in for that? Like who do you call for someone like that? Is it just medevac? Is it National Guard? Like, and I don't know if you can say or not, but like, how did you just got to think outside the box sometimes, right? But also, you get somebody out there and these people are rescued. And I say this too because looking at these pictures, it says Tennessee Hospital, 54 people rescued. So
it's actually 62.
It was 62.
Yeah.
Oh, holy crap! So how does that even go on? Because I mean, there's so much coordination and everything, and you guys are right in the middle of it as well. And it just, I can't even imagine. This is chaotic.
It was actually kind of sad at first. So we called our wings, our air rescue medevac. They said no. The weather is too rough. We're not coming. Okay. So then we stepped back. We called THP, Tennessee Highway Patrol. They said no. Weather's too bad. So then we called North Carolina, because we didn't know how bad it was in North Carolina at that time. Called them and they said no, absolutely not, absolutely not. And then we just started Googling helicopters in the area until we found numbers. I tried the National Guard and they said, right now, all we got is prayers for you. That one made me cry a little bit. And then we hit, one of my guys thought about it and called Virginia Highway Patrol. And they sent the first helicopter. So we had, and then the Blackhawks with the Guard, they were sitting there with their engines idling, waiting for the ceiling to lift so they could go. So we had Virginia Highway Patrol, THP, and the Blackhawks all took off at the same time. But everybody was stuck on that roof waiting for air rescue for almost 2 hours. Watching houses go by, trees go by. It was very scary. And some of the things that were said on the radio was just horrifying.
I was going to say, I can't even imagine what you're hearing on the radio. People saying whatever they might be seeing, or, something to the effect of maybe, can anyone hear me or something, at those moments, you're not, it's not just dispatch and those out in the field. It makes it that much more personal.
It was friendships. The police chief, this one gets me every time. He said on the radio, he said, "Alora, I know you're listening. Get me some effing help."
Hey, what's going on? This is Ricardo, and I don't mean to interrupt the episode. I just needed to jump in here really quick because as Alora's talking about the audio and everything, everyone being on the rooftop and what was going on, I have a 9-minute clip of that audio that she's talking about. This is taken from audio that she put together from a bunch of traffic, and it's also from a class that she teaches on this incident, everything that was going on during Helene. And so listener discretion is advised. The audio you're about to hear is not suitable for all audiences. So again, listener discretion is advised.
501 Central. I'm taking my truck through this mess here, and we'll see how we do. 16 probably. We're going to additional units can come up. We'll have to deploy a boat up here more than likely. We'll have to have some people downstream throw bags. Probably 1 Central.
501.
Can we get what wings or somebody? We need help here. I need help now. Just FYI, I've got a lot of assets tied up over here at the hospital. I'm in trouble here, and we may not be able to get back out. So do what you can, find what you can, and we do appreciate it.
10-4.
501 Central. If there's any agency available, I know everybody's stacked up, but we need help. It is coming into the hospital now. We need help now.
501, I believe 1701's on the phone or talking with some people trying to get some extra help out there. And we're getting everything we can.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. Just want to make sure everybody knows where we're at. We're probably going to need you to evacuate the motel, Mountain Inn and Suites.
801 Comm Center. I have one trooper in the vehicle in the water, approximately 2 feet high with water. Also have one male downstream around 40 yards, same water. That's trooper. We're attempting to get trooper out currently. We'll work on male as we get her out. We've got the trooper to dry land here on Spivey. We're going for a gentleman in a truck.
518, 501, water is coming into the hospital. We need to make sure everybody's out. I'm doing a walkthrough right now. Copy that. I'll be to you in a minute. We got water in the yard. We have the boats. Can we get people across? Because this is getting bad. See, we're kind of caught right in the middle of it. The interstate is flooded also. But we're trying to get over. I understand, brother. We're fucked. Help me. 510, 501. One go. Got a boat headed your way. You can only take one or two at a time from the Forestry Service. He's en route over to you. We need it, brother. We'll do what we got to do. Who's at the front? Any units I have at the front? 511, 510. Go ahead. What's the hold up on the boat? They're coming. They're piling in them now. I got one powered boat and one dinghy behind it there. 10-4, it's coming quick. ER's already got water inside. We don't have to move. Get them moving. Get them moving now. Now. Josh, folks. They just had abandoned ship. Wait, what? What happened? These people. Small boat did not have enough power to get over there. He just literally had to abandon his little ship here. Fuck. Okay, listen. We've got to get these people out of here. And otherwise we're going to go to the top of the roof and do what we got to do. But now, seriously, give me some fucking boats or some trucks or something right now. I need helicopters now. If we can get helicopters in here, I mean, however many, wherever you get them, I need them now. Alora, I know you're listening. Get me help.
My kids, a trailer just hit my kids' house. They still haven't been rescued. They're afraid they're going to drown. Like, the water's almost above their house. They can't get onto the roof. And
10-4, they're getting ready to put the second boat in here. Second motor boat in.
Mark, hold off on deployment. Here comes the structure.
We see the horse trailer. Is there something else?
A building is coming to you right now.
I don't see it from where we're at. Okay, I see the building. Riverview Church just collapsed. There you go, tower just went down. See if they just lost the engine in one of those.
Calm Center, 501.
One go.
501, my director spoke with National Guard. It's not a no. They're doing the best they can. They're working together, trying to get the resources together. But as of right now, no helicopters.
Copy that. Tell them I'm enthusiastic and I appreciate y'all's help.
10-4, 501.
613 Town Center, be advised, we've got multiple power poles breaking and homes coming off their foundations here on Temple Hill and Bowman Road. Copy. 510, 501, just make you aware you got a swell heading your way now. 519, 501, I've got a dump truck from the street department. I'm coming back up in front of the fire department to load patients in the back.
10-4, 501, we copy you. For 510, they do have a helicopter en route. Last time we knew about 35, 40 minutes.
Right, please tell them hurry.
Copy, 501.
Interstate ramp at the 40s underwater. Copy. Hurry out somewhere, now you've got some coffins coming down the river. There just should be right there about a decade of those behind it now. They're headed down that way. There ain't nothing you can do about it. There goes another one. I'm seeing the bridge just gave here at Chestoa. The bridge is completely gone at Chestoa. Copy. All personnel downriver from Chestoa Bridge. The whole bridge is now collapsed. It's coming down the river.
Comm Center, copy direct. Chestoa Bridge has broken down.
Now, it didn't just break down. It's completely gone now. It's already gone down the river. The whole thing. Copy. 627 call center and all units downriver from Chestoa. The Chestoa the United Spring Baptist Church Fellowship Hall that's come off its foundation and is coming down the river.
If I'm not thinking, man, we have 2 souls in the water. They have actually washed away right here about the salt shack at the rail yard. The last point they seen contact, they were washing, going toward Paul Pointer's residence, but we do have 2 souls in the water. We are trying to make our way around through the rail yard.
I understood. Chief, there's leaves at the other side of the bridge there on the interstate as this fell in. Oh, one second. I got a helicopter on the roof. We're starting to move patients.
This is 1701 on the hospital roof. We'll be waiting your arrival.
Reach loud and clear. 12 minutes out. 1701, Spooky 2 direct. Is the helipad an option, or is it going to have to be the rooftop?
It has to be the rooftop.
All right, copy.
501. 25 out right now. Got 4 more going. 2 more critical patients. We're trying to get up ladders out of boats. The Black Hawk's taking 10 right now. Virginia State Police taking 4 more and 2 more helos in. Copy, 501.
An officer that was flagged down by somebody who was advising at 4636 Highway 81 in your county that there is 1 male and 1 female stuck in a tree. Do you all know about that?
Okay, so we got something going now. We're working on it.
Oh man. Yeah, something like that. Because now it's just, that's even more personal. These are the people that you work with, that you know, and it's up to you to try to get them help as much as possible. And I don't know, what all has been said, whether it be in the media or just in general, but it feels like there's a huge credit that needs to go to you and your team. Recognition. And I know that, a lot of times people will say, oh, we were just doing our jobs. There's a lot of coordination on your part to be reaching out, and they end up getting rescued.
Honestly, it was a team effort. There was one police officer, one city guy, who ended up getting a hold of the National Guard too. And between both of us, just hammering them hard, that's what got them to sit idle in those helicopters and wait. But my people, it was anybody they could think of to call. They were Googling personal phone numbers, calling senators and and everybody they could think of, trying to get help. It was amazing. Afterwards, I went back and listened, and somebody even tried to call Trump. They didn't get through, but they tried.
Hey, the fact that someone tried to get a hold of, of him, or the White House, the switchboard, even, even that. I think that is something that people don't always recognize, is that 911 professionals will go to the ends of hell to get someone help. It doesn't matter how, we don't stop. You keep going and going until you've exhausted every option, and even then you're still trying other options to try to figure it out.
We're still pestering people, saying, hey, no is not an option.
Right, yeah, exactly, because I have never experienced this, but there are a lot of folks that I've spoken to who've been in similar situations that have to do with hurricanes, where they've gotten to that moment where people are calling for help, and they have to just simply tell them there's no help coming. All I can tell you to do is to get to a safer, more secure location, or get to the highest spot that you can get to, because there's no one coming. And to be in a profession and in a spot where that's not something that you even pops into your head that you would say to someone, because of the job that we do. and then to have to say it, that is gut-wrenching.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know, I know we told at least a couple of people right now, I don't have anybody. I need you to get to the highest spot while we were still trying. I mean, we may say that, but we're going to keep going as hard as we can. And unfortunately, we did lose 6. It sounds like they ended up getting swept off that truck about 30 minutes before the Blackhawks actually got there. And that's devastating. We didn't want to lose anybody.
Right. So you're going through everything that is Hurricane Helene, like a few other places. And somehow, and you'll have to talk me through this and the rest of the audience, those who are watching and listening right now, Stella comes into play. How did this happen in the midst of this chaos that is going on?
So after the flood, our animal shelter actually got washed away too. And I told them, if we can help, let us know. But obviously it has to fit in with the dynamic and dispatch. So on October 16th of 2024, the director called and he said, "Are you willing to try fostering this dog?" And I said, "Well, what kind of dog is it?" And he said, "It's a little terrier dog." I said, "Okay, sure. First, does she bark a lot? And has she shown any aggression?" And he said, "I don't know. I haven't seen her." I said, "Okay, well, bring her on, I guess." You know, he brought her down. It took 30 minutes and we all just fell in love. So I ended up adopting her so she can be here. And she lives here 24/7. Shortly after getting her in, we realized she was gaining quite a bit of weight. She was pregnant.
Oh.
So on Black
Surprise.
Friday, she had 7 puppies in the corner of my office. And we raised 7 puppies in dispatch.
What? Oh, wow. You know what? So just on Google Images, when I type this, it looks like there's a picture here of maybe you holding on to Stella.
Yeah, after the flood, I had posted something on our Facebook page about her, and a couple of the local news agencies, you know, positive, upbeat stories, so they came and did a piece. And then we announced that she was pregnant on Facebook, and there was news agencies fighting for that story.
What? No way.
After all the devastation here, I guess, you know, just get something positive. And
Right.
there was arguments over who got to take that story. So
Jeez. I mean, hey, I'm all about a good a feel good story and everything, but like someone's got to throw down the gauntlet. All of you will fight in the parking lot. Whoever wins gets to come in and do the story. But you know, just all of that. That's, you know, there's always a silver lining somewhere, and I love that. You know, Stella ends up coming into this story because of everything that you guys end up going through. And then, you know, there's all this research, you know, about how having emotional support animals there in dispatch, and, you know, of course, in general, with a lot of places as well, that it does help. And I've seen it. I've lived it as well, not when I was in dispatch, but like in visiting different centers and seeing their ESAs and stuff. I'm like, oh, this does help. So how did that help even more so within the center having the puppies?
oh man, I would walk out onto the floor and somebody would be sitting at the console. They're taking a 911 call, get off the phone and look at them and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they go, "Puppy." And the whole time they're taking the call, they're holding a puppy.
I mean, that's gotta be a good feeling. I mean,
Yeah.
there are national conferences that have a whole section where it's just puppies. In Baltimore for National APCO, I was there recording episodes with people, and they're like, "You've got to go to their like wellness spot because there's a fenced in area where there's like tons of puppies." And I said, I need you to define tons of puppies. Like, is there just like 5 or 6 of them running around, or are there enough that I can lay there or like swim through them like Scrooge McDuck and his coins? And they're like Scrooge McDuck. Like there's a bunch of them there. I didn't get a chance to go
Oh,
and experience it within the fenced in area, but I did walk by and I saw everybody else, and that was enough to like, oh, like
yeah.
relieve a little stress there as well. So I love that again, despite all of this craziness that happened and everything, you've got this silver lining, and you've got
Hmm.
Stella, who was there a moment ago, but food came and needed to get her snack as well.
She's a princess, I tell you. She's spoiled. She has the officers trained, dispatches trained. Everybody is just wrapped around her paw. It's ridiculous. One of the officers, every day she works, she has to bring her we call it a meat lollipop. It's like a treat, but it's got like freeze-dried meat on the end of it or something.
Mhm.
She comes and Stella just puts her nose in her pocket and pulls the treat out.
Oh, nice.
And then one of the dispatchers brings her scrambled eggs every morning. Like he goes through and orders her own order of scrambled eggs every morning.
What? You're right. She's a princess for sure.
She also has 5 beds that she can sleep in at any point in time, and she bounces among them all.
Dang. Well, look at that. I mean, I kind of wish I had 5 beds too. My 1 bed sucks. Now, I know that you have something coming up, so I wanna go ahead and I've got just 2 last questions for you here as we go into the wrap up of this. With everything that you and your crew went through, Hurricane Helene and everything, what were, I guess, some of the after effects in a way? Like, what are some of the things that you learned from this?
I learned that we all need to just talk.
Hmm.
We talk it out. One of the biggest things I noticed talking with people from other agencies that were involved versus us, we've sat out there probably 100 times and just told stories to each other, talked through what happened, whereas other agencies maybe didn't. And now we can kind of laugh at some of the crazy things that we heard during Helene. Some of the recordings that I've picked up, like my deputy director saying the Army could go un-F themselves when they got their Humvee stuck trying to come and help us. That was on the back end of a recording, So we can listen to those kinds of things and laugh about it. But some of the other agencies I've spoken with, their people can't. It's because they're not talking about it.
Yeah.
So we've kind of opened up more with each other. And now, even after Helene, if somebody takes a rough call, we all talk about it. And it seems to be really helpful. So we learned that. And then I think I gained a lot of respect from some of the other leaders around us at that point, because they are safe. They didn't think they would be, but they are. And it was because of us. And now we get involved in a lot more stuff. They credit us a lot more in things, and they reach out for our opinion when they used to not. So I think that's kind of what came from it.
Well done. Really changing the minds of a lot of people who sometimes can get stuck in their own ways of thinking
Mhm.
and unable to think outside the box. And I just love that a lot of this brought you guys together, and really seems like it kind of bridged the gap between all of public safety there where you're at. So well done for that. And going into the wrap up with this last question that I have for you. And this is not to change anything. I kind of mentioned this already, but it's not to change anything because we go through all of this that we've experienced to get to where we're at today, right?
Mhm.
So out of your 10 years in public safety, if you could go back in time to talk to yourself at the beginning of your dispatch career, what would you tell yourself?
Don't get sucked in to any drama. It all works out just fine. And don't let somebody tell you can't do it. Because you never know what you're able to do.
Perfect. Awesome. Hell yes. Oh, this has been so much fun to have you on and learn more about you, hear your story, the things that happened during Helene, but especially that definitely a silver lining with Stella and the puppies and all of that. I love your perspective on just how you do things, and man, you keep kicking ass and taking names. Well done.
Thank you. We will.
Sweet. Thank you for being on, and I will be right back here with you in just one moment. Okay. And for those who are watching and listening, if you have any comments, questions, or you ever want to be a guest on the show, you can email me, and that is going to be wttpodcast@gmail.com. But the easiest way to do this is for you to just hit up the link that is, or the website rather, because there's no link that you can click on here, especially if you're listening to just the audio. It is links.co/IM911. And that is links with 2 i's.co/IM911. And you'll find everything there. My email, social media, where to follow, where to hear the latest episode of Within the Trenches podcast, as well as the latest episode of the Imagine Listening podcast. There's also the link on there to be a guest on the show, whether you are new to dispatch, seasoned, or retired. I would love to share your story. So hit me up. There's also the link for the free community, the Trenches. And I've got over 250 hours worth of continuing education for 911 professionals there. And those are from the Dare to Be Great sessions, the virtual events from 1 through 6. And then I've got hours of rounds from the Dispatchers Roundtable. So make sure to check all of that out. Once again, it is for free. Also, that link will take you to where you can get the Imagine Listening books or dispatch or podcast merch, all there. Links with 2 i's.co/IM911. This episode is sponsored by Rapid SOS, Safer Together, the leading AI public safety company. And shout out to subscribers. As always, I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for all of you. So thank you very, very much. This can be seen on Facebook, YouTube, as well as X and LinkedIn Live, and then clips, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, as well as TikTok. So make sure to check those out. And then you can listen 24/7 on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, your favorite podcasting app, and withinthetrenches.net. Have a good one, everyone. And we will see you all in the next one. Imagine listening to someone's worst day every single day. Imagine listening as someone experiences life through their worst nightmare to the miracle of birth or a life saved. I'm Ricardo Martinez, a former 911 dispatcher, and for years, I've been recording the voices of a hidden world, ours. I've provided a space for 911 dispatchers to share their powerful stories. It started as a peer support session and continues. Dispatchers sitting together, sharing out loud, or writing down what they couldn't say. Some stories will grip you. Stories of heartbreak, resilience, and calls that haunt us long after the line goes quiet. But Imagine Listening is more than heavy emotion. It's about healing. It's about laughing through the chaos, lifting each other up, and reminding the world that dispatchers are human too. The lighthearted will balance the heavy. Experience the power of storytelling, a podcast for the thin gold line and those who want to understand it. This is Imagine Listening. Your worst day is our everyday. Subscribe now wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.